Welcome to the Gray Bears Model Podcast, episode 11, where we are the mature authority. Overdig that. Don't you worry about nothing. 5 in. Usually come in a little bit. I'm having a good evening. Right, we're gonna take that medicine off for now though. I need to get some new ones. We're gonna let somebody join you, Reed. We're gonna hold tight right quick. I should have went live on the ground too though. I'm trying to consolidate all my stuff. And ultimately, I'll be going to the Great Bears Matter page and doing all that, doing my rap and my section from there. You did, along with the YouTube. If you haven't got a chance, please go subscribe to the Great Bears Matter podcast channel on YouTube. Where every 50, I'm giving away some merch. Miss Drummond never did holler for her merch though. So that first 50 is there. But every 50, up until 500, we're gonna do the same thing, right? We're just trying to get better and better each episode. This is episode 11, Gray Bears Matter Podcast, where we are the mature authority. And we're gonna spin the block on the topic. We're gonna talk about the streets versus the sidewalk. What's cracking with it, right? Because I really wish my man. Well, let me see if I can tag him in that joint. Let me see here. Hold on a second. Because let me see here. Boom, boom. So we're gonna tag him. We're gonna tag. Let's see here. We can get the boom, boom, boom. My man, that cool. I really want to tag my youngin on here, Jones joint too, because I want to get a younger man's point of view. I'm gonna tag him. I'm gonna tag him. We gonna tag one of our famous sponsors. Let me see where she at. H-E. No, am I spelling it wrong? Let me see if I can do this. There you go. Okay. Let's see if we can tag them and get started with it. Who else we want to holler at today and get on this topic, man, and know a little something about what we're talking about? Who else do we want to include in this? For real, I want everybody that's been tuning in with us. I'm gonna holler at. Hold on, whoa. All right, cool. Hold on. Big Griff. Yeah. I'm gonna holler at him. Let me see here. I'm gonna holler at him. Tag Stink. We go with that for now. Okay. We just vibing a little bit, man. We're gonna turn the music up a little bit so we get a little more folks in here. Try to get some love. I know it's Friday night. It's happy hour. Welcome to the Gray Bears Matter Podcast. Happy hour, episode 11, where we are the mature authority. Don't you worry about nothing. We're gonna talk about the streets versus the sidewalk. Yeah. I hope Facebook don't be tripping, man. Tonight about music choices, but we just trying to get started. It's non-copyrighted Facebook. Let us live. You know what I'm saying? If you got through the week, man, you got through the snow, you got through your weather, you got through your job, you got through the stresses of life, you know what I'm saying? Chaos or whatever it may be. Give yourself a round of applause. do that for yourself. Give yourself another one. 'Cause what I know for sure, um, everybody that started last Friday didn't make it to this Friday. So I want to send condolences to my good men up top, my good men down south, and everybody in between who's feeling that, right? Because life definitely is life, and it is a very fragile commodity that we need to take into consideration on a daily, because every day that we get a chance to wake up, we get a choice and a chance to make a change for ourselves, right? And then by making a chance, making a change, taking that choice and chance for ourselves, we get a chance to affect our loved ones. You feel me? I'm gonna keep drinking out this glove because that sticker is really kind of fire. Let me turn this so y'all see that, y'all. Y'all see it, right? Y'all see the tumbler. I don't know, but let me see here. Who else can we holler at today? But all right, we ain't gonna do it. It's already 11 minutes into the jump, man. We gonna go ahead and talk our talk, right? So tonight's episode is about the Great Beers Matter. Episode 11 is about the streets versus the sidewalk, and it's sponsored by Prize Picks. Psych, we ain't there yet. It's coming though. We gonna get one of the major sponsors soon enough, but until then, we gonna stick to what we know, who we know. Next week, we gonna have my man out of Michigan go ahead and sponsor the program. Next Lane Racing, also Next Lane Auto Collision and Paint. My man, you need your joint wet, holler at him. Get it to him, he get it back to you. And dude, holler at him. We want to thank all our previous sponsors: Darkside Customs, GPK Customs, Roots and Wraps, ANF Creates, Truck Trapping, Shameless Plug, and everybody else who supports the channel, right? I also want to give let me holler. Oh man, let me see here. I want to see if Bro is available, man, so we can go and get started. Yeah. I like that right there. Cool. And I'm gonna double check something so we get started. Okay, that's a possibility. That's a possibility. We're gonna get started though, man. So today, right? Again, this is Gray Bears Matter Podcast where we are the Mature Authority, episode 11. Welcome. Give yourself a round of applause for being here. Okay, cool. Let's talk about it, man. The streets versus the sidewalk. So I made a little short the other day, right, where I had a comment about the streets versus the sidewalk and how sometimes the narrative can get twisted, right? Because the sidewalk is a safer space versus the streets, right? So I had some homeboys, some real men in my life, that reached out to me and was like, "Yo, what we talking about, Eastwood? Don't get it confused about who you are, where you come from, right? So if you know, I'm really trying to telling y'all right now without saying a whole bunch about who I am, right? If you know, right? You know the hat represents, you know what it is, and that's cool. I'm a Midwest boy, straight up, North Side Omaha. What's good with it? 402, and not ashamed of that. And so I'm gonna go. I got my notes here. We're gonna go back and forth, and I want you to ride with your boy. And I'm really trying to be a little patient to see who I can have some dialogue with. But if not, then we can go ahead and get busy regardless, right? Um, and our sponsor is Grave Beers. Actually, it's Dragonfly Collective, right? They are apparel logistics and they're a media company. The apparel clothing company is Truck Trapping. They do warehouse management and transportation for sure, and they are all different. They are all the owners of the Great Beers Matter podcast, where they are the Mature Authority. You dig, right? So again, tonight's topic is the sidewalk versus the streets. And first and foremost, it's not a judgment, right? It's not a judgment. It's a choice, and last time we spoke on it, briefly after the post, like I said, I was hollered at a couple of my good men, and we had some real conversations about it, right? And a couple of them was like, what's good with it, man? Don't forget, and and what's different now, right? So what one thing I can't do is I cannot forget where I came from, what I've gone through, right? And I don't think that anybody who is on that path to um, maturity in life, emotions, and accountability can do that honestly, right? So streets is it hits different if the person chooses to make a change, right? And it's clearly seen when that happens. So part of the issue is if that person doesn't make that change, right? And they tend to want to straddle the fence, right? Be a wobbler, have one foot on the sidewalk and one foot on the streets. Well, you can't really make a decision on what you want to do because you haven't made a decision on what's best for you, right? So what we can say is without fact that that is a choice. Unequivocally, it's a choice. Today I want to expand on that, right? Over there, right? The divider isn't the location. This isn't whether you in the street or you in the sidewalk. It's the responsibility of making that choice and that decision of where you want to be at, or where you choose to be at. And if you know, you know. Um, hey, if you know me, you know me. And I'm speaking to, or speaking from a standpoint of having lived in both worlds, right? Having been on both sides of the street or both sides of the location. I've been in the streets. I've been on the sidewalk. I choose the sidewalk now, and it's a choice. It is a conscious decision to be there. Um, and I'm not taking away or not talking about the streets from the outside looking in perspective, right? I'm coming from a lived experience, right? Now, granted, everybody's experience is different, and that's cool, right? I don't expect anybody's story to be the same because that's not accurate. That's not true. It may have similarities, right? Whether it be from your location, from your hood, from where you grew up from the circumstances that you grew up in. They may all be similar, but the none are going to be exactly the same, right? When you come from certain sects or certain backgrounds, you can have conversations about them and have a common denominator of what you want to speak on, right? And you have the opportunity to listen and give your input, right, or something you can relate to, and that's cool. But ask yourself this, right? Ask yourself, is it conversation just to be chatting, or is it conversation to analyze what you're going through, right? And then if you're analyzing what you're going through, are you analyzing what you need to do to make that change for the better if you have made that choice? Or are you listening to those who have been in the streets or in that lifestyle and are trying to give you the game to get you to the sidewalk, per se? Um, I'm talking from the lens again, from the lessons that I've learned, from the choices that I've made, and the cost that I've had to pay. And shit, excuse my language, mama, still still to this day, consequences they're not in the moment, right? Consequences are long. They Hey, what's good, my man Big Chuck, man? I'm glad you're here, good brother. So we're talking about the streets versus the sidewalk, right? And we're talking about the choices of how we the choices that we make to be where we want to be at, right? And it's not necessarily location. Again, it's the choice that you make. Um, and I was just speaking on myself, right? Because that's what I can talk about. I can't talk about anybody else's. I can't refer to anybody else's and make a judgment on it. I don't have heaven or hell to judge anybody and the choices they make. All I can do is speak on what Cliff Eastwood is, right, or what he has, and if they don't know my man, we don't come from the same background, same area, same parts of the world, right? We don't do the same things in life. We have common things to do in life, but he gets on the roof. He gets busy. He's I'm not gonna tell his profession because I might not be your business, man. I want you to know, but what he does, I don't do. But that's my man because the choices that he made as a younger man made him into the man today. We're not the same color. We're not the same. We have common denominators, things that sometimes people don't separate or can't separate the differences to come to a common ground. So that's my man. That's my man, Big Chuck. He has been since I met him. I'm proud of him. He's a father, grandfather, and he's a hard-working man who I respect. Right. So street lifestyle, it demands a certain mindset, right, and a certain behavior that goes along with that. The street choices come with street outcomes, and you ain't got to be straight up paid in full type dude. You ain't got to be a menace to society type dude. You ain't got to, or a woman. You ain't got to be, of the elk where that's all you know to say that you're from the street. Sometimes it's just a little bit can get you caught up with a larger consequence from the activities that you participate in. Right? I don't care what it is. We're not here to try to itemize what street activity is, right? So I don't want to, implicate myself if it ain't your business, or implicate anybody else because that's not what we're here to talk about. We're talking about the choices that you made of where you want to be at in life, right? You can be in the streets, cool, or you can be on a sidewalk, cool. They're a choice, and we make the decisions or the choices, and we go with those consequences. Hey, yo, Shiner French is in the building, man. Y'all see her. Y'all see her for sure. Check out her podcast. We talking about the streets versus the sidewalk, and I'm not putting your business out there, but based off conversations that you and I have had, we can really get down with this with the concept of the differences between the two. We were just talking about how the streets demand a certain behavior and certain mindset, right? And the choices that we make in the streets come with certain outcomes, right? And growth and unselfishness are required to change up. Now, how you get that growth and how you get those the unselfishness mindset is different for everybody, and when they make those decisions is different for everybody. Certain decisions come with certain costs, and sometimes those costs are the ones that get us to go either direction. For me, I had to think outside of myself and find something greater than myself that made me look to the sidewalk for what I needed to do. Right, there was a responsibility that I had to take upon myself to get there. Everybody else has to have that same thing as well. I believe, and that's just my opinion. But again, my opinion isn't a judgment, right? Because I've been there. I I'm on the sidewalk, but the sidewalk is really visible to the street. It's like right there. It's like you can see it. You can see what's cracking. You really want to be in tune because you still want to be at a mindset of knowing what's going on around you, and you might know somebody over there that needs your input from the choices that you want to be in now, right? So, who in the hell takes a position of judgment from either location, whether it be the streets or the sidewalk? Um, it's not it's not cool to for one person to look over the other direction and have a judgment, right? And a lot of times people run from. Ooh, I'm not going to use the word run. People make a decision or appear to make a decision based off of their peer influence, right? I know a lot of people who say they're from the street just because that's where their men are, right? So supposedly they're men, or a lot of people that want to be in the streets because they don't know any different, or they don't have the courage to jump out of that situation, right? But sometimes if you really with that, then you understand that the ultimate goal was never to reside there, right? It was never to continue to take the unnecessary that puts you at risk where you can't provide for yourself or for your loved ones or for anybody else that may look up to you in that regard. And that's whack. I'm really trying to curtail my language here because we can really get deep into it, but we're not gonna hold you too long because it's the happy hour. I don't know, it's Friday, man. A lot of people out, and it's cool. We got a real light day today, man. As far as viewers and comments, and that's cool because the message ain't gonna change none, right? So, in my experiences, trust wasn't an option, right? When you deal with certain lifestyles, you have to understand that. Mm, you have to understand that, like I said, trust isn't an option because you don't know who has the agenda or what they're willing to put you through or put you at risk to accomplish whatever they got going on, right? You got to really be secular in who you choose to function with, or how you choose to function, or who or where you choose to function, because it's a mindset, it's a behavior, it's for your safety, it's for your longevity, it's for your freedom, right? Who wants to go in front of the damn judge and justify and have that person dictate how you function for a short time or a long time? Excuse me. All right. Um, it cost me time. It cost me money. It cost me jobs. It cost me relationships. It cost me opportunities from the decisions that I made that I didn't really uh, take into full consideration, or I didn't take the advice from my OGs, or I didn't take the examples that were around me because I thought that I was exclusive to the consequences that they had, right? Or I thought that not me, I'm good. I'm back 10. I'm him. I'm Horace, right? And nah, not at all. Let me get to the comments here before we go further. Uh, Farmer French says your surroundings play a huge role. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. It does play a huge role. And the thing with roles is, what role are we listening to, right? Or what role are we playing in life? Like, everybody has a role. You can be a good role model. You can be a bad role model. You can not even have to use a person's conversation. Just their actions can kind of dictate to you how you get down. When I was a young man, you seen them, folks around the way driving certain things, having certain things, picking up certain ladies, carrying themselves, getting certain respect and all that there, and boom. See, I need that in my life. Well, you don't know how they got there, right? You don't know really how they function behind the scenes. You don't know what you don't know because you don't know. And they say, "Oh, I'm gonna give you the game so you can win." Well, 10 times out of 10, you're not gonna get 10 pieces of the game if there's 10 pieces to it. They're gonna give you 8, maybe 7, because giving you 10 makes you a threat. Uh, my man Chuck says, I have personally walked through a lot of bad doors when I was a young man. My little girls were my saving grace to put my head in the game, but all choices have consequences. But most people lack accountability for their choices when they go sideways. Let me see finish reading that. When they go sideways. So if you're gonna be in the street, understand you're gonna have to be. Oh, for sure, no doubt, Big Chuck. Um, and hey, yo, accountability is a hell of a word, bro. It's a hell of a word, and it's a word of truth, right? It's a word of fact because when you are truly accountable, you can't lie to yourself, right? And when you're not lying to yourself, you're a better product for yourself, for your loved ones, for those around you, those who you mentor, whether it be knowingly or unknowingly. Um, hey, yo, what's good, Skeeter? Man, welcome to the Gray Bears Matter podcast, where we are the mature authority. We just talking about the streets versus sidewalks, good brother. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Sri says, what advice would I give my younger self? Woo. Oh, wow. First thing I would do is tell myself, listen to my elders, right? I would tell myself, hey, yo, you don't have nothing to prove. Uh, you don't have but one life to make the right decision, right? And when you don't make that decision, young Eastwood, you will pay the consequence greatly. And those consequences aren't just in the moment; they are going to stick with you, right? For good or for bad, right? So I say for bad because if you have to go see that judge, that's with you, right? That doesn't leave you. You might change your ways, and they might expunge, and or time may go by where it might fall off, and or you may just make decisions that don't give you the opportunities in the future that you otherwise would have if you had made those decisions. So I would tell myself, listen to your elders, listen to your examples, listen to yourself. Know right from wrong. Be right, be courageous. Be yourself. And let others rock with you how they will. And if they don't, then that's on them. Right? I wish I had taken that opportunity to listen, right? Because I'm sure um, those voices and those words were said at some point. Like I'm sure that some of them ass whoopings and backyard conversations and uncles, boys club leaders, church parishioners, homeboys from around the way, whether it be on the deuce or up top, would told me, "Yo, this ain't you, right?" Because I cut my mom. She bust her tail to make a difference for my sister and myself. That I didn't have to make the decisions that I did make because she come from a different lifestyle herself, right? Not in the same part of her being the street woman because she wasn't. She was a gangster, right? It just comes from a point of view where life wasn't easy in T Town, right? And with her siblings, they understood what the struggle looked like, and she wanted the best for us. And my hard head self was like, I wanted to do something different, and I didn't have to. And I straddled that line for what I presented to her and my family, or those who I wanted to see the goody boy, right? But then you turn the page, it was a different get down, right? And you had the opportunity to be something different, but like Shonda French said, your surroundings um, have a huge influence on how you function if you're not uh, of the mindset to being independent enough to make decisions for yourself that you know better than. So that's definitely one thing I would tell myself, Ree. Um, and I tell myself that now at my young tender age, right? Even though some of those decisions still linger today, and those decisions are what makes me the man that I am today. So I take that, right? And it's not like when people go from the streets to the sidewalk, they're just talking about being reformed, right? So I'm not saying that I'm reformed or those that choose differently are better. I'm not saying I'm not better than anybody else, right? But I'm just saying that we just had to choose differently, right? And I know a lot of men that, a lot of women too, uh, that have made those choices to choose differently. And that's what's up, right? Because at some point we take those experiences from how we used to get busy, uh, right, wrong, or indifferent to make a better way for ourselves now. And we use those experiences to tell somebody else and ourselves of what not to do or what to do versus the outcomes that could be, right? So outcomes and consequences go hand in hand. So but let me be clear again. I'm not here to say I'm separating myself from my background or my folks, right, with similar backgrounds, because I don't have heaven or hell to judge, but my day will come, and hopefully it won't be by a judge that I'll be judged accordingly based off of who I am now versus who I was at one point. You did, um, and it's my responsibility, right, to choose the sidewalk. I'm accountable to what I learned back in the day and through those experiences. And don't get me wrong, back in the day don't mean that when I was a teenager, right, or when I was in my 20s. Shit, it could have been in my 40s. It could have been in my early 50s. Right? Lessons don't stop learning. We don't stop getting it. You know, we don't stop. You keep on. You live. You gonna learn something. Hopefully. Um, but if you don't, then you cheating yourself. You're not being responsible for yourself, like my man Chuck says. You're not being accountable to what you've gone through. You've wasted your time. You wasted your opportunities. So it's all good though. Um, but one thing I would say about my choice to be a sidewalk cat is that, like I said, I'm accountable to what I learn, and more importantly, growth should not look like betrayal. It should look like evolution, right? And what I mean by that is sometimes people think that you because you make a decision in life to continue to try to progress or to progress or can start a path of progression that you think you're different, right? Or you leaving folks behind, or you are uh, betraying those that you came through a certain time in your life with. That's not it, bro. If you really a G out here, then that should be the goal. I am a father of two men, right? And the goal was never to have my youngins do or portray anything that my peers, their peers, have gone through before them to make their lives easier. But life is going to dictate or be dictated by those choices. And we just want to be in a position of experience and courageousness to relay those experiences to somebody else, hoping that they can make a better decision for themselves, right? Um, was my man Bump Riffic is in the building. Y'all give it up for Two Will Life Radio, superstar extraordinaire, my cigar goon brother, my main man, for sure. Great Bears Matter. Y'all know what it is. He was here on the first episode because that's my guy. He should have been here. I wouldn't have it no other way. What's good, bro, man? Welcome to the Great Bears Matter podcast, episode 11. We talk about the streets versus the sidewalk. Good, brother. And we try not to get too deep on the personal tip, but we got to be. I'm accountable to me, and I don't want nobody thinking that my first comic last week was me trying to separate myself from the past or separate myself from those who have similar backgrounds. Like, it's something bigger than what it was. Well, yeah, it kind of is. It's bigger than what it was because of what it used to be. You did, and I'm choosing the sidewalk now because that's where I choose to be. But I'm not separating myself from my past because that's what allows me to be who I am today and reflect on the decisions that I make versus decisions that I made, and some of the decisions that were nah, to that back. Some of the decisions are made by somebody else that made me make the decisions to get better, right? And I'm sorry, y'all. We're not drinking tonight. This is straight water. But Bump, you see that, right? I got something for you, bro. You see the great biz, man. Right there it is. Little H2O, man. That's all we on tonight. And again, man, because you grow, and people really rocking with you, it shouldn't look like betrayal. It should look like evolution. And they should be proud of you. They should be proud of what you are trying to be. Why? Because it should be from a positive lens. It should be something that can make a difference to somebody else, whether it be through, again, mentorship, whether it be active or indirect. And sometimes the best mentors aren't the ones that get on stage or get into a front of an audience or get in front of a group of people where you got to talk to people directly or have this big audience and what have you. Sometimes, man, you never know who's watching, and that might be all that they need, right? I'm a I'm a I'm a strong believer in that as a man, right? Because I had men in my life, college graduates, hardworking men, uh, preachers, teachers, coaches, OGs that have made the choice prior to. But sometimes, man, the crazy part about that shit is, excuse my language again, mom, is that sometimes people will hold on to the folklore of somebody else, right? And they'll hear somebody tell a story about somebody else, and then they want that same kind of attention, not understanding that that person might have gone through a whole bunch of stuff during those times that give them the impression that they was really that guy. Well, part of being that guy is it comes with a consequence because that light is shine on you, right? And if you're not strong enough to think for yourself, then you want to be just like him because that's what you think you need because that boosts your lack of self-esteem, right? But bump that. Make a decision for yourself, man. Be yourself. Figure out what's right. Figure out what's wrong. Figure out what's going to benefit you. Figure out what's going to make you proud of yourself first, right? Because it's irrelevant to anybody else. Because what they say or what they don't say don't matter, right? I'm of the ilk of the mindset now. What matters matters, and what don't, and who matters matters, and who doesn't. And if they have a judgment on you where they feel like you're not who you're supposed to be, who are you to make that decision, right? Who are you to base your opinion as fact for somebody else? If you haven't taken the time to really get to know them, and if you really know me, you know that I'm repping who I am, right? Right now. And if you don't know, then you don't know. You haven't taken the time, right? Or I haven't given you the opportunity to get inside that circle to figure out just what it is. But at the end of the day, at this point in life, gray beards matter, and gray beards matter is the opportunity for us to talk about and bridge that gap on the things that matter. So you did. So that's where we at. That's where we at on that. Let me see what we got going on. We talk about the reform, right? And then we talked about. Now we're getting to the part of where separation comes in. Separation, right? It looks a lot like this sometimes. When you separate your old patterns, people think you're separating from them. If the goal in life is success, that should never be confused by what they know. I'm sorry. It should never be confused by those that know and rock with you. I'm gonna say that again because I had to go back and try to read my handwriting. Separation shouldn't look like separating from somebody else, right? But sometimes you make decisions that separate you from your old patterns, and people that are still in that same pattern, to them it'll look like you separating from them. That's not true. That's not true. But at the same time, though, dig right. If I make a choice, it's a hypothetical situation. Let's say that, hmm, let's say that we are basics. Let's say that my man Bump calls off work, right? And he's going to do whatever, smoke a cigar. And he says, "Yo, come smoke with me." I'm like, all right, bet. But Bump took leave for the week. I didn't take leave. I'm just calling off work. My boss is like, "Damn, where Clip at?" It's Tuesday. He ain't coming to work. They ain't like him. Or then Bump says, "Hey man, I'm going to I don't know, I'm going to the water, but it's Wednesday." He say, "Come with me." I said, "All right, bet. I'm gonna hang out with my guy, right?" But again, I don't know that Bump took leave that week. It's no consequence to him because he put it in. But I'm calling off saying, "Yo, I ain't gonna come in today." But then when I get back to work on Thursday, they say, "Well, you got two unexcused absences. I'm going to give you this write up and send you home for the next 2 days because you had two unexcused absences based off a decision that I made to hang out with my man as opposed to taking responsibility for what I needed to do and take my behind to work where that bread can keep on going and my attendance is there and I can go ahead and be like, all right, bet. I'm here. I'm where I'm supposed to be at. I'm on the sidewalk taking care of my responsibilities as a man. No knock to Bump. Not at all. Because Bump's still off Thursday and Friday. He ain't separated himself from me. He chose to go ahead and put his leave in. He ain't had to tell me he was taking leave. He just said, "Hey, I'm going to do A, B, and C." But I ain't take the time to say to him, say, "Yo, how you doing that, bro?" Because that's my man. To be a legitimate question. But he should be like, why you, yeah. I meant to say it after you got off work, bro. You got to hang out with me all day. But I ain't disclosed that. I made it seem like I'm just him and I can do that. And I made a decision and I had to pay for it. That was very, very generic. But do you understand that even as generic and lightweight as that was, that's the block, right? The block. Yeah, I'm gonna hang out. You ain't got to go to school today. We outside. Hang out with us. Woo, man. Listen, that hanging out cost your boy a lot. Cost your man's a lot. You dig what I'm saying? What's good, Chop? Appreciate you tuning in, Miss Hunter. Welcome to the Gray Bears Matter Podcast, episode 11. We're talking about the streets and the sidewalk. Some light, you did, right? So, like the sidewalk, right? Like, what's the benefits of being on the sidewalk versus the streets? And again, it's just my opinion. Now, heaven or hell to judge. I'm cool with where I'm at. It was a choice to be where I'm at because of where I used to be, and being over there made me who I am today, right? So over here is a little less BS. I say little less because you're still dealing with people and people can be BS themselves, right? Right? You're never going to get 100% from 100%, period. And because, you know, pedestrian traffic might not be as hazardous as vehicle traffic, it's a little less distractions over here. Don't mean that things can't go wrong over here because people still have influences and then you can be like, all right, you can get comfortable and think that what you see is what it is and it's all sweet and you mess around to get that cavity and whoo, nah, not necessarily true. In most neighborhoods, most cities that I've been in, walked through, visited, the sidewalk is right next to the street. Sidewalk, street. But sidewalk, street. It's not far. It's not far at all. And if you are a person of that's trying to act right, right, or you have some type of of experience from the street, then being that close to the street will allow you to see where you don't want to be at, right, or the shit that, excuse my language, the things that you don't want to be involved with. And the street is really just a metaphor for decisions, right? But that's basically what we're saying. You make a decision to be over here because you don't want to make the poor decision or have the opportunity to be in some BS by being over there, right? But because you've already been in that situation before, had the experiences that allow you to have gone through certain things in life, you will have the opportunity to make better decisions. And that's the bottom line. Yeah, bump. I mean, break like. I don't want to answer that for you, bro. I know it's typing, man, but can you expand on what you mean? Depends on what street or what sidewalk, because I'm referring to. Well, no, I'm not referring to them. I'm not saying that the suburbs is going to be different than the inner city, right? Because you got good and bad everywhere you go, right? Just because you don't have the traffic or the population in the suburbs doesn't mean that you don't have opportunities to make poor decisions. Is how we gonna say it. It's just less of it, right? The more populated the areas, the more influences you have, the more people that you can see, the more activity is going on around you. So how do you reel yourself in to walk into that space where you can step back and get the bigger lens to see what's really good? Or is it so convoluted around you that you got so much stuff going on that you can't pick out what's good and bad, so you just get caught up in the bullshit, right? And a lot of times that can be it. And again, excuse my language, mama, it's Bumpy fault. For sure. It's definitely Bumpy fault. I'm blaming him. The sidewalk allows you to take accountability or responsibility. And when you are responsible for yourself and for your actions, you can progress a lot easier without the distractions, right? Because at that point, what doesn't matter doesn't matter. And hey, yo, what's good, Bruce? Bruce, my man. We just talking a little talk, man. We're really trying to get deep and not get real deep, bro. Um, have a little personal testimony on how I can understand how you know the sidewalks and the streets really parallel one another most of the times, and how you can't really separate yourself from the past, but you don't have to live within it. You dig what I'm saying? Your past is just that, but it doesn't assign or define who you have to be in the future, right? You want to have the opportunity to take the decisions that you made, good, expand on them, bad, correct. You know, and it is what it is, man. You cannot relish on the mistakes that you made if you're really trying to make a change. Because that was, man, whatever. You ain't got to hold yourself there. And for those that try to hold you there, then you understand that you let that go. Separate that for sure. Because they'll try to pigeonhole you. But then if you make another poor decision, they don't, hey, I don't even know what's up with that cuz, man. Cuz is tripping. He made that his own. I ain't had nothing to do with that, man. That's on him. You should have known. You should have figured. You'd have known. You should have known a long time ago, man. Hey, I'm over here on the sidewalk, bro. I can't tell you what he's doing in the street, man. If you don't get the, but ultimately, that person is correct because we have to be responsible for ourselves and the decisions that we make, right? And that's cool, man. And again, man, we just wrapping it up, man. We just talking our talk. Damn, it's been 53 minutes, man. I did not know that. I did not know that. Hey, ain't no doubt, Bump. Oh, for sure. You see, so Bump, man, I was really trying to wrap it up, bro, but God, dog it. So, yo, Bump, but see, this is what the game is, though, dog. Sometimes folks who run the streets, right, it get too hectic for them, bro. So you try to find a little place of, like they like water. They try to choose a path of least resistance, so they bring their asses to the sidewalk, thinking it's safer or sweet, right? And then they think that because this is something that doesn't have all the hazards that the street have, that they can come over here and put their influence on something that they feel is neutral, right, or new to them, so they can put that mentality or that influence over here, right? But this is what I'm saying, and this is on Cliff Eastwood, and I'm standing on this here. I have made a decision that this is where I want to be, right? And it's bigger than me. It's about my loved ones, those in my inner circle, and I'm willing to protect that. So if you want to be a f boy or a sucker, I think that's gonna come over here and jeopardize what I got going on to make my path dangerous, because that's where you want to be at. Well, homeboy or homegirl, whoever, it don't matter. I'm telling you out the gate, that's not what it's gonna be. Or I'm gonna go out on my shield trying to protect that, because I've been there. I've been in the street. I've been playing Frogger. I've been in front of the dude that's trying to, with the black robe. I had to pay the consequences, still paying the consequences. I seen my youngins and my peers and who've had similar paths and similar choices still pay the consequences. And I've seen on the other side, I've seen good men and women who didn't make those choices. They made the positive choices. They've been the examples or the mentors of life that we would hope to not be blinded by all the other bullshit distractions and see, right? We want to be able to accept them prayers and the mentor or the words that allow us to progress, to be fruitful, to be diligent, right? And what we got going on in life. And I just pray that my sons or my peers or my nieces and nephews, whether it be blood or not, get those lessons based off us at an earlier age. So when they get to the 30s, late 30s, 40s, and 50s, they're not tripping about some past experiences that could, prevent them from certain opportunities, or not even prevent, right? Because that's not what we want to do. We don't want to be delayed in receiving everything that we are justly due. And on that note, man, we're not even going to talk no more about it. Yo, what's good, T-Dub? Uh, on that note, man, I want to appreciate everybody coming in. I had y'all out here for 57 minutes almost, man, for Gray Beards Matter, episode 11. We're talking about the streets and the sidewalks, man. I hope that we've talked about has a little bit of resonating, but it's in my opinion. That's all. Gray Beards Matter, episode 11. We are the mature authority, streets and sidewalks. Holla at us, man. Go check out the YouTube channel. We'll be uploading that tonight. And we're trying to be on our way to 100, man. And they'll give yourselves a round of applause for tuning in with your boy. Yes, give you another one for getting through the week. And I'm going to holler at y'all next week, man. Don't worry about nothing. Gray Beards Matter. It's your man, Big Clip Eastwood. And I'm out.